In the previous session, we had looked at how Nidra or sleep is actually a vritti. It is also a state of consciousness. But however, there is no content of the mind as such or no cognition that is happening that can give mind its support. But still it is a vritti. The other vritti that Maharishi Patanjali talks about is smriti, that is memory. Anubhuta vishaya sampramosha smritihi. Anubhuta vishaya sampramosha smritihi. Anubhuta vishaya asampramosha smritihi. Anubhuta, that is experienced. Vishaya is the object of experience. Asampramosha means it is not being lost. It is not left. It's not leaving. So basically means it is stored or it is held somewhere without being lost. And smriti is of course memory. So the objects that are experienced by us, which are not lost but being stored somewhere, is called vritti, is called memory. So whenever we talk about memory, we think it is some kind of a place where something is stored. But however, if you see, memory is actually a system or a set of processes associated with the storage of information. So it is a cognitive executive function. Even if you look at it from the perspective of modern cognitive science, it is a function or it is a process or it is a system of receiving information, storing it, and maybe later on retrieving it. Any kind of cognitive process creates an impression, and that is like samskara, which is an imprint that is happening, and that imprint is stored and then later on can be retrieved, and that becomes smriti. This itself can be of two types. That is what Vyasa Bhashya says. When memory can be formed through imaginary things, or it can be formed through non-imaginary things, that is whatever we see during our wakefulness, that we can store it. That is one form of memory. Or we could be dreaming about something, and that also forms certain memory. So it can have a correlate in physical reality or it may not have, depending on whether we generate that memory through wakefulness or through the process of dreaming. And this memory is also formed based on our raga and dvesha. Both form memories. We might be averse to something and hence we remember it. We might find something very pleasurable and hence we remember it. So both contribute to the process of memory, and the stronger the raga and dvesha, the stronger the memory could be. And hence that vritti can be quite strong. More effort may be required in cleansing or handling that vritti. How does cognitive science look at memory? Cognitive science researchers say that whenever we look at the world through the senses, not just look, we experience the world through the senses, through the eyes, through the ears, through touch and all that. We receive that information and that is processed by the sensory memory. And then we also have the short-term memory and long-term memory, where the first few set of items are stored in the short-term memory, which is also more dependent on this sound input. And then through a process of repetition, this information goes into the long-term memory. And if you look at the neuroscience process, what happens whenever there is an input, a new synaptic connection between the neurons is formed. And the more we reinforce on the memory, the more we keep recollecting it or working on it, the synaptic connections become stronger. So, depending on how often we activate these connections, the connections become stronger or weaker, and this is called synaptic plasticity. Basically, because we reinforce a certain memory and then it becomes stronger, then for a long period of time we don't think about it, it becomes weaker, and hence this is called the synaptic plasticity. And in fact, modern science, what does it say? Depending on whether we are experiencing pleasure or pain, these connections become stronger, and hence we often remember them, or they come flash in our memory, and such things happen. And in fact, if you look at it, emotions play a very significant role in memory. Where emotions, when they are strong, when we experience something to be very happy or to be very sad, then those memories stick on much stronger, and we remember them for a very, very long time. So most of the autobiographical memories tend to be of very emotional events. That is what science is talking about. And hence it means that there is this raga and dvesha that is playing a role in remembering things. However, when we experience life in a very light manner, pain is there, pleasure is there, it's okay, then the process of removal of the vritti can happen much faster, can be a much simpler process. Otherwise, this GBs and terabytes of data, a lot of work needs to be done to erase them. Not erase them, but handle them or manage them. That's why maybe we go for cloud storage these days. Our own storage is overflowing, so we go for cloud storage. And hence, if you look at the sutras that come later, there is so much emphasis on leading a life that is balanced, so that nothing forms too strong memories. Overall, life is a pleasant experience. Anubhuta Vishaya Sampramosha Smritihi